What role does government have to play in a landscape? I think one of actual leadership. They know you can do these things. Whatever future we've got in 2030, in 2050, exists now on Earth. It's just unequally distributed. If that future is fed by little glimpses of things that actually work, that are green and living and alive and community and people-based, we can do something amazing. And I think, in a way, it's government's job, actually, to help paint that picture. I'd heard and read a lot about introducing much more trees to our landscape, introducing these agroforest systems. And I wanted to do that at a point where there weren't any grants for that. And so we've kind of just done it because I believe it's a system that works. So in a way, we've always been a little bit too far ahead of the grants. That said, I would like to see the whole of our country farming in ways that are similar to this. And for that, I think it does need funding. I think probably the main barriers we've come across in making the changes we want to make are maybe people not really realising that these things are possible. I think that level of ambition that people see is maybe not quite where we want to go. Like, we've kind of drawn out all the patterns at Henban. I've been on this test to see if it works. It does. I feel like we've found the edges, but now it's time to go really deep into really tuning these systems. And for that, there is a big need of knowledge exchange and comparisons and baselining. I think we're alive at a moment when there's so many problems, aren't there? And are we going to fix them all? I don't know. But I know that you can't go wrong by having a go. Our ecological understanding is amazing. Our access to tools and technology is amazing. If we can bring those together with that right mindset of making things better, that's just amazing.
Mae rhwydweithio lleol yn bwysig, hynod o bwysig i ni fel ffermwyr. A dyna sut ni'n dod o hyd i wybodaeth. A dyna sut ni'n dysgu beth sy'n gweithio ar ffermydd eraill yn yr ardal ni. Mae gennym ni grŵp trafod yn yr ardal hyn, 12 o ffermwyr yn gweithio ar ei gilydd, a i ni wedi profi 8 ca ar bob ffarm ar hyn o bryd. A wedyn byddwn ni'n gwneud analysis o'r data i gyd a cael negeseuon allan o'n fe a siwt all y ffermwyr yma i wella ei rheolaeth o iechyd pridd. Cymaint o waith papur a cymaint o bethau, a mesur a monitro iechyd pridd yn beth pwysig o dan y Llywodraeth a hefyd beth sy'n dod o ran y prynwyr yn cynnyrch ni. O ran casglu data, mae'n bosib i wneud mwy hwylus y diwrnodau yma trwy defnyddio apps a pethau felly. Ond ar diwedd y dydd, ambell waith chi'n teimlo chi wedi llanw'r gwybodaeth na mewn 3-4 gwaith ar gyfer gwahanol bethau. Mae lot o bethau allan na, mae rhaid i ni gyd yn ffurfio nhw, ond mae angen help yno ni i baratoi'r gwybodaeth na i gyd. A ni'n gobeithio ar diwedd y dydd bod na fwy o grededd i gael ein cynnyrch ni. Os ni'n gwybod bod e'n gynnyrch da i bobl i fwyta, ond mae angen i ni rhoi'r tystiolaeth na o flaen y cwsmer. Felly mae angen hwylusydd, rhywun i hwyluso yn y cefndir na i gyd. A ar hyn o bryd mae cyswllt ffermio yn wneud gwaith da yn y maes na a cynnig adnoddau a cyllid tuag at wneud y gwaith na. So ni'n gobeithio bydd hwnna'n parhau ar gyfer y dyfodol.
There's barriers to stop change in a number of different ways. So the first one is probably policy, not being supportive enough of that change. I think there's also a cultural element as well to that. I think the definition of what it is to manage land, what it is to be a farmer, has been challenged and is changing and has been changing for a while. I think what we're looking at in future is actually more like something we had several generations ago, but industrialisation, particularly from the European policy, has really pushed farmers down a route. The system has pushed them one way, and new policy might be trying to shift them back. Welsh land use is really diverse. Now, if you're trying to make policy to satisfy them all, it's not easy. But what I think is the most important choice is to make sure that those that are on the cutting edge, delivering sustainable agriculture, get the support that they need, and others are encouraged to follow them down that path. You know, we could end up in a situation where we have increased intensification, industrialisation of the lowland area of Wales, and increased abandonment of the uplands. We've lost thousands of farmers, hundreds of farms, over the time I've been involved in this policy area. Those people are not raising their voices anymore because they're not there. So all that's left is an increasingly concentrated minority for which the status quo works. But we know from the data that the status quo is not working for most people. In the middle of the next decade, the UK Climate Change Committee recognises that agriculture is going to be the main source of Welsh emissions. When it is there, change becomes much more hard and much more necessary. So changes we make now will make it easier down the track. We know what's wrong, we know how to fix it. The problem is the will to do it.
The number one barrier is to get people to key into this vision. I don't think it's going to be difficult, because once you tell people these are the benefits, I think many people are beginning to understand and resonate with the need to have this type of initiatives. Funding is a huge thing. I have had to learn how to write grant proposals over the year, but I think it's possible. There are barriers, but they are not barriers we cannot overcome. I think there is the place for evidence, for data, but also there must be action. I think Wales is a country that leads in many ways. We already have a just transition framework in place, which is like a partnership. Everyone should be on board with knowledge and with action. Those are the kind of things we want to see. That is not just talk, it's not just policy that looks good, but come meet the people, meet the right stakeholders, meet people at the grassroots, and let them feel part of it. I think it's important that we go out there as land users to get our hands dirty, because most of the time, many of us are behind the screens, and we forget that just because a fraction of people are the landowners, we have responsibility for the land as well. Whoever you are, wherever you are, you should be concerned with what happens to the land and to nature and to other people, not just about yourself, because at the end of the day, it comes back to bite you.
If we want farmers to look at trees, which is a big decision, they also need to feel secure and comfortable in their business. And we could really do with longer term funding commitments from Westminster to be able to plan, because all Welsh Government can do is just look at 1 year ahead, and it's just so small. Forestry is a very long game. We've got an ageing population of farmers, they're over 50, but they don't have a retirement plan. Planting a proportion of your land and creating a timber crop, you're almost creating your own pension fund. It's an enabling you to retire, to hand over the farm to the next generation, as well as being able to replant it and create a pension for that generation. With the timber industry strategy, what I would like to see is the implementation of this to enable the timber industry to thrive and grow. So we need to look at tree planting. We're well below our targets in Wales, and we need to work through our barriers there. So that's a lot of social science, looking at why people don't like trees. Then we've also got a skills crisis. We've got an ageing population of foresters. I think it's really important that we need to look for diversity. We need diversity in ethnicity, in gender and age. That will help create change and bring different ideas to the table. I would like a clear case study of a farm, 4 different scenarios of do nothing, do a little, do a medium amount, do a lot. What is the trend? What is the data there? How much is my land worth? And what products am I getting out of it? And what ecosystem benefits am I getting from this? Having that clear model and business case, that is what's needed.
Dwi'n meddwl efo ffarmio, mae wedig efo ffarmio'n ffordd da efo rotational, llai input, llai nitrogen, llai herbicides, pethau fel yna, regen yn arbennig. Bod os ni'n edrych ar ôl pridd y tir a'r anifeiliaid iechyd, mae net zero y consequence o hynna, dim o gol. Wrth gwrs dwi'n hoffi technoleg, wedyn mae'n un darn arall yn ni'n sbio ar ydy agriculture drone i fewn a prynu'n hunain i wneud pob peth, really, rownd y gwartheg, hadu a calch a micronutrients, macronutrients. Wrth gwrs, mae'n dipyn saffach na mynd â tractor ar llechweddi. Mae pobl yn dweud bod o'n technoleg yn drud, ond diwedd dydd, un bywyd sgyn ti. Dwi wedi cael un damwain, go drwg ar llechweddi yma, a dwi'n methu cael un arall o fi, so mae'n werth pob ceiniog i fi. Ynglyn efo data, dwi'n meddwl, dyn ni angen llywodraeth i deffro bod ni ydy'r ateb, a bod mae ffermydd original environmentalists a be dyn ni'n neud yn peth da. Efo net zero, dwi'n meddwl maen nhw ffocust ar un peth lawr un ffordd, a dwi'n meddwl maen nhw wedi methu beth sy'n bwysig, sy'n ei dweud. Ie, maen nhw wedi lawr un ffordd a maen nhw'n mewn twnnel. Neith nhw ddim sbio ddim ffordd arall. Mae natur yn deithio ni beth sy'n gweithio. Maen nhw angen siarad â ni, basically. Dwi'n meddwl dyna'r dod allan i'r ffarm a siarad â ni. Dod i weld ni. Guaranteed bod 95% o ffermwyr sy'n nhw'n fodlon cymryd pobl ar y ffarm a siarad.